Welcome to this overview and demo of the Commission Import Tool by Alexant. My name is Sue Good. I'm a senior consultant with Alexant. My colleague, Joy Ruther, and I help agencies and brokerages get set up and trained on how to use this powerful function available in several agency management systems. If a company does not download direct bill commissions, but you can get or convert the commission statement into Excel format, you can import the transactions. So why do we want to import? Well, primarily we want to import to save time. You can import thousands of transactions in just minutes into your management system. What can take a person 2 weeks to manually enter a commission statement can actually import in about 5 minutes using the import function of your management system. You're going to improve the accuracy of that data going in, because it's not being manually keyed, it's being entered from the commission statement itself, so you won't have data entry errors. Sounds easy, right? Well, of course, there are gotchas. Number one, what fields must match between your Excel file and your agency management system in order for the transaction to be created? Well, the primary field is the policy number. And then the second field that usually has to match up is the policy effective date or expiration date. Many commission statements do not come with that date. So one thing our macro will do is go find the policy effective date on that policy detail screen when you're setting it up. The next issue is what order do those fields need to be in? Commission statements come in all shapes and sizes. Ideally, we get them always down to the same order, so we only have to set up a few mapping or data definition files in your management system. I would like to be able to check my producer codes and my producer rates before I create the transaction that I'm going to have to fix later. I'd rather know beforehand and get it corrected before I do the import. I'd like to review all of the transactions at a high level and use my Excel filters to find the errors and then know which ones I need to go into my management system, billing screens, and fix before I import my file. Our import tool helps navigate all of those gotchas. The primary purpose, again, being to get the necessary fields that we need from our policy detail screen or billing screen onto the commission statement. And then our secondary purpose is to go grab that producer information so we can see it prior to importing so we can fix. The cost of our import tool includes the setup of your mapping file or data definition, training on how to use our tool, and free support for the first 2 months. Now at this point I'm going to hop over to Excel and I'll show you the commission import tool in action. So commission statements come in all shapes and sizes. Every carrier does them differently. And using our import tool, you won't care. It does not matter, and you'll see why in just a moment. This is a macro-enabled Excel workbook. Now, when it comes to you, it wouldn't have any data on it. This is just sample data. But there are 3 sheets at the bottom. The first one, the commission statement here that's highlighted, is the one that you would copy and paste your carrier's commission statement. The second thing you do is go run a report out of your management system, whichever one that is, of information of your policy detail screens, of your billing screens. Now we've got all of this information and I've got my commission statement in the same Excel workbook, this import tool macro-enabled Excel workbook. From here I run my first macro. Custom toolbars are stored up here under add-ins, and it's called MapCS. Stands for Map Commission Statement. And when I click it, Excel's going to take me back over to the commission statement and bring up this lovely box. This box is why I don't care what order these columns are in or how many columns there are. I'm going to tell Excel that the client name is in column B. I'm just going to click on the letter B of column B. Excel fills that in for me. Then click in the box for the policy number and click on column C for the policy number. Commission amount or percentage. I'm going to import the percentage, so I'm going to click on column G. The premium. Click on the column for the premium. Transaction effective date. Now notice my commission statement has a couple different columns of dates. You choose which column you want to use as your transaction effective date. I'm going to use column D. Transaction types. Some agencies and brokerages use a default transaction code for everything. In that case, you wouldn't need this. You'd be finished at this point. Many agencies, though, want to import new, renew, cancellation, endorsement, whatever it is. So I'm going to check the box that tells the macro, yes, I would like to include a column for my transaction code. And now I'm going to click the column on the commission statement, if the carrier gives me one, with the transaction code. Transaction description is programmed here in case there was a column on this Excel spreadsheet that you wanted to make your transaction description. Most of us use a default, so I don't really need that, so I'm just going to leave it blank. But we did program it since it is a field you can import. And then I'm going to click OK. Excel is then going to look for this policy number and look for that policy number on my report I ran out of the management system. And when it finds it, it will fill out information on the data sheet in the middle here. Because I chose the box for the transaction type, Excel then presents me with this window to map these words into codes that my management system will understand. It would not understand the word audit, but it will understand AUD in this example. Cancellation, CAN. Endorsement is plus EN, even though it's a negative, it will play fine. New and renew. And if you notice here in column I, when I click replace, that's what's happening. It's doing a replace on that column, which you could do just an Excel replace. This is just popping it up so you don't remember or you don't forget to do it. On this data sheet now, this is a combination of the commission statement and the information from these billing screens. So now we can check out what's going to happen with these transactions when we go to try to import them. This is the policy effective date from the billing screen. And if this column is blank, it means that these policy numbers were not found on that report we just ran out of the management system. I know before I even try, these will not make it. And I can choose to filter them out, move them into another sheet, and manually do something with those. So to turn on my filters, I'm going to go to Data, Filter, filter on my effective date for the blanks, copy these rows out into a new worksheet, and I'll go ahead and rename that sheet Manual Entry, because your management system's not going to hang on to these for you. It's up to you to know which ones don't make it. And then go back and do something about it. Now here on my data sheet, I'm just going to delete those rows because I don't need them. I copied and pasted them onto a new sheet down here. And I'm going to clear my filters. These transactions will all import. I have a policy number and a matching policy effective date. I'm good. I have other columns here, though, that I can use to filter on to make sure my transactions are going to be correct. Maybe I've got a producer here. When I filter on the producer and go, wow, this guy doesn't even work here anymore, and I can filter for those and go, oh, I need to go fix these in my management system before I import them. Fixing a producer on the Excel spreadsheet doesn't do you any good, but it is going to show you which ones need fixing before you create the transaction. You also, and then I'll go ahead and clear that filter, you have the producer percentages as well as the producer codes. So now you could filter on your first written date or filter on your policy status to make sure that those codes or those percentages are correct for your producers. Once you've got this data sheet the way you like it and you're happy with it, you turn off your filters and you run your second macro. Up here under Add-ins next to Map CS is Create Import File. When I click that, Excel will create a brand new workbook. This is not a new worksheet, it's a whole new workbook. And the only columns on it are the ones that I need to create my transaction in my management system. and I will have, and this is something we do for you, is set up the mapping or data definition in your management system to match this order exactly, the order of these columns. So back to, I don't care what your commission statement starts out looking like, it's going to end up looking like this. This file is now ready to be saved and imported into your management system. So our macro helps get around the gotchas of importing, helps get that policy effective date or expiration date right off of the billing screen at that moment, so you know that your fields that need to match will match, and you can get your transaction created. If you would like more information about our tool, please complete the form on our website, or give us a call, or shoot one of us an email. We'd be happy to help you and show it to you. Thank you again for your time.